All right, everyone, welcome today. Thanks for coming back up with us. We will start today with James Ham.
Hey, De'Aaron. First and foremost, just how are you feeling? What was the COVID adventure you went through, and just how is everyone in the household?
Everybody's doing well now. Like my fiance is getting back to working out, things like that. When I got back with the team, I was going through like my pregame stuff. Obviously, it was a bit more difficult than it was. It was more than just a warm up. So for me, coming back was definitely a process. But I feel a lot better than I did, a few weeks ago. So that's definitely a plus. But we're all doing well.
How close were you to coming back and actually finishing the season? It sounded like you really did want to play down the stretch.
So we played 2-on-2 the day we left for Memphis, and that was a struggle. That was really hard for me. Like playing half court and then playing full court. It was different coming because I was probably in the best shape I've ever been in, before I got COVID, and then coming back and barely even being able to, finish a couple 2-on-2 games was definitely difficult. So I don't know how close I was, but it definitely, needed a lot more time.
Jason Jones.
Here we go. How you doing, De'Aaron?
All right, bro.
Yeah, just when you look at the season overall, and I know we've talked before about you wanting to make strides, not just on the court, but as a leader in that area as well. How do you feel like you've progressed just to where you are right now as opposed to a year ago?
I've definitely progressed a lot. I think I'm in a much better place in that aspect than I was, coming into the season. But I think with what we did and, how we, came out of, some of the losing streaks, obviously we did it later than, we wanted to or expected. But every time, when we come out those losing streaks, it was, we'd win 3, 4, 5 in a row. So just being able to pull us out of things like that, a lot sooner and a lot quicker is definitely something that we need to work on as a team and myself, to get us, back in the win column rather than letting it slide, for that long.
And I remember earlier you talked about how you wanted to play a lot better and what level you had to be at for the team to be good. And you had some really good stretches this year. What did you learn about what it takes to stay at that level over the course of a year, and just what you have to do to be able to do that and impact the game on both ends over the course of a season at that really elite level?
That it takes a lot. The players that do that have done that for years on a consistent basis, night in and night out. It takes a lot to be able to do that. Like you said, I had really great stretches, and then I've had some stretches where I wasn't even close to the level of play that I was at. So just trying to get back to that level of consistency, night in and night out, where you're playing really good, and then sometimes you're playing great. But then if you're not playing great, you're still playing good basketball. You're playing really good basketball, and I don't think I was there just yet. And that's just something to continue to build off of. And, I know what it takes to be playing at that level. And for me to continue to get better to where if I'm not playing great, that I'm still, affecting the game in positive ways.
Sean Cunningham.
Hey, what's up, sir? I'm just wondering about you, kind of back to your experience with COVID real quick. Is it change any perceptions that you may have had having dealing with it firsthand? Obviously you had several teammates that have dealt with it, but once you go through it and obviously your family goes through it, does it change your mind or any perception you might have had going into it before?
No, not really. For us, like from everybody that I knew, they lost like their smell, taste, things like that. And that wasn't something that we experienced. So for us, it was just headaches, body aches, and chills. That's what we had. And then one of us didn't have symptoms. So it didn't really change, what I thought of it. But just being hit with it personally was definitely different because we hadn't felt it yet. So, but I definitely wouldn't say that it changed how we felt about it, for sure not.
No, glad that's in the rear view for you. And obviously with the news of Luke coming back, there's obviously a segment of folks that are really unhappy with that news. And I know you don't like to, you have your moments where you can address haters or not, but I'm just curious, as someone who has full support of Luke Walton, what would your message be to those people who might be supremely disappointed that he might be back?
One that it takes time to build. as a team, as players, as a coach, as a GM. But with us, I mean, I think with us sticking together, like we said, if you cut, those 9-game losing streaks into 3-6 or hell, even 2-7, we're in an entirely different position, and that's already being built on from where we were last year to where we are this year. So I think just little minor things for us as a team and what we're doing on the court definitely will change, the trajectory of this team. And it's little things, but people can say whatever they want, but we know how we feel about each other inside this organization, and we know what we should be able to do.
Christos Saltis.
Hey, Diaron. Hope you are doing well. First of all, a lot of Greek fans of Sacramento Kings wait to come here in Greece.
But can you say that again?
Yeah, a lot of Greek fans of Sacramento Kings wait to here in Greece this summer.
You say a lot of Kings fans are in Greece?
Yes, and they wait you to come here in Greece.
Oh, you said they waved to me?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm definitely thankful that, we have Kings fans, went all over the world, and, I'm waving back, and, thank you for the support.
Well, I would like to ask you about your partnership with Ty. What did you notice as the biggest growth, and how optimistic you are about the next season with Ty on your side?
I'm very optimistic. I think, we can be one of those, backcourts who start, who start together and play for several years together, and, continue to feed off of each other. And I mean, we can both do things, extremely well. And, one thing I was talking about with Monty is, we should be a much better defensive backcourt. So with that, one comes experience, and two, we just have to, be able to continue to understand the game and be able to uplift our team on that end of the court, knowing that offensively, we're fine. What we did this year was enough. So defensively, we just have to be better as a backcourt and as a team.
And also for you, as one of the most competitive guys out there, how frustrated was to stay out of the court and watch your teammates from your house or from the bench? How frustrated was that for you?
I was definitely different. I mean, last year was my first time really, missing a significant time with my ankle sprain, and then being out this year, not being able to do anything, just knowing that I'm not healthy enough really to play, or I'm not conditioned, ready to play, was definitely difficult. But I mean, they did a great job when I was out, so it was good.
Marshall Harris.
Hey, De'Aaron, good to hear that you're doing better coming out of COVID and everything. I was just curious, you just talked a little bit about that group that you're with and believing in the group. Every offseason, of course, brings uncertainty. How, maybe anxious is not the word, but how much are you looking forward to figuring out, who's going to be back, what's going to happen with this group and the subtractions or additions coming forward? How do you approach that every offseason?
I mean, whoever's here is here. I mean, that's pretty much all you can do. Obviously, you can try to recruit guys and talk to guys, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's their decisions, it's in their agents' decisions, and I don't really get into that. So I don't. It's not much of an answer for that question. Really, just you see who signs. You're talking to Luke and Monty, and seeing who's coming, who's not, and that's pretty much all it is.
And going forward, I'm assuming you already had your exit interviews and everything, meetings with the front office, coaching staff, all that stuff. What are those discussions like, and maybe how has that varied from after your rookie year to second year, and now being a veteran and the franchise guy? What is it that they want you to work on, and what was that conversation like?
I mean, just for myself, continuing to grow as a shooter. I think I shot around 42% off the catch and around 31% off the dribble from three. So continue to work at that, getting those percentages up just to be, I mean, that'll change the dynamic of, one, the team, and two, myself as a player. Two, I was talking to Monty about, defensively what we need to do. And, it'll start with me and Ty on the ball. We both have to be better defensively on that end next year. And, if we're good as a tandem, as a backcourt defensively, then I think it'll uplift our team and what we're doing defensively. So those are two of the main aspects of what we really talked about.
Jim Conley out in Ireland.
Hi, De'Aaron. De'Aaron, I suppose last year things went very well for the Sacramento Kings in the draft, picking up Ty at number 9 spot. How critical is it for ye to have another good draft this year going forward? Maybe a power forward or a center of real quality, maybe to push you that bit further and hopefully into the playoffs?
Like most small market teams, a lot of times, you really have to build the draft and, develop your players, things like that. So, the draft is definitely important for us. And, no matter what spot, we have, it's important to find, quality talent. And, a lot of times you want someone who can really affect the game right away, like Ty did. But, that's not always the case. But for us, it's always important, to be able to build through the draft.
I suppose, De'Aaron, this era of super teams, we see the likes of the Nets, we see the likes of what the Lakers are trying to build as well. Does it give you a sort of confidence and reassurance about the prospects going forward when you see Utah Jazz, when you see New York Knicks, see the seasons that they have, and not essential so-called superstars in terms of building a team, just actually proving as a unit and improving as a basketball team? Does that give you hope that there's still a chance to compete against the Nets and the Lakers when you see how good the Knicks and the Jazz have done?
Yeah, always. Things can drastically change in a year. So for us, it's all about the work that we put in as individuals and coming back as a unit and, just being able to let that work show. And then, on one end, it's about, being able to play and then understanding, what we should do on that end of the court.
Jason Anderson.
Hey, Fox, glad you're feeling better, man. You've talked about Luke and your relationship with him and how much you value that. I'm wondering what, from your perspective, what he's done to cultivate that relationship with you and why it's so important.
One, he's someone who's played the game. So, he understands, everything, the players are going through and two, what they need to continue to do to get better. He's won a championship. He's played at that level. He's played at the highest level, you could possibly play at. So, he understanding, the players, and if something needs to be done, he can actually go out there and show you what needs to be done. So I think he's continued to help me grow as a player and individually, as a playmaker, what I need to do defensively, little things like usually, you'd have like vets, like when we had Vince and Zebo and George, they can show you things to help you, want to get better getting through a screen or getting better off ball or what you need to do. And since he's been able to play, those are things that, some coaches aren't really able to do. And he's able to do those things that can really help you in those smaller areas. So, and then he's a great communicator. He's someone that communicates all the time, whether it's on the court or off the court. So that's kind of how we, really built our relationship.
Okay. And, when you've talked about defense already a couple of times here, you guys obviously were 30th in the league in defensive rating. But if you look at those last 10, 12 games or so, the defense was top 10 in defensive rating, and that was with a lot of the trade deadline guys. And I just wonder how you assess that. What does that say to you about, where you guys are at as a core group that the rating was where it was, and then actually the team was able to finish fairly strong defensively?
That guys picked it up. Getting guys like Mo and TD and DeLon. Those guys are long defenders who can really get into the ball, get in the passing lanes, and just staying solid. So, as a team, we see where we need to be at coming back into next year. And just with our defense being decent, we would have been in a much better spot this year.
All right, just take a few more. Tony Harvey.
Hey, De'Aaron. You've been here since 2017, and that's pretty good because you only had, I think you were just under your second head coach. And previously, people have been here long, players have been here that long, probably had like 3 or 4 coaches. Just want to get your overall thoughts of the organization. Of course, this season with the roster, 1 through 15, have a lot of high character players on the team. Just want to know how things are going on in the locker room, and is there anything else needed, to get to a culture where you guys can make the playoffs?
I would definitely say since my time being here, we've given ourselves chances. One like my second year, we kind of fell apart right after All-Star break. And then last year, we go into the bubble having a chance, and then, kind of fall. We didn't really perform well in the bubble. And then, this year with the 9-game losing streaks, if we don't have those, we give ourselves a better chance. And then even going into it, the Spurs lost all 3 of their games. So, if we win all 3 of ours, then, we make it. So all the last 3 years, we've had chances to get into either the playoffs or the play-in, and we just haven't been able to do it. So, but for us, like in the locker room, it's been optimistic. I said the last 2 years we had a chance, and then this year, even when we went on the 9-game losing streaks, just one win, could change where we're going, and ultimately it did. But then again, we let the 9-game losing streak happen again. So, the locker room, I would say, guys, continue to come together, even towards the end of the season, where we had a slim chance of getting in. But like you said, we've had high character guys, guys who want to play together. But for us, it's just continuing to build, continuing to get to know each other, on the court, so that the chemistry, is high, and we continue to just play well together.
And is there anything else?
Oh, I thought you were about to keep going.
I think we lost Tony. Tony, you there?
Oh, was he still talking? Because I can barely hear
you. Yeah, he froze. But hold on. Matt, we'll go to you for now.
Hey, De'Aaron, good to see you. Wanted to talk to you a little bit. I apologize if you've answered a question about this already, but when you first signed your contract at the beginning of the season, you talked about building a culture of sustainable winning, not just immediate winning. Of course, you, Rashawn, Tyrese, Harrison, all would have liked to play there at the end, but did it encourage you or motivate you at all to see how the, I guess, bench unit, second unit was able to perform with so many starters absent? And does that excite you for the future going forward?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those guys having bigger roles and them being able to perform, while having those bigger roles, because it's definitely different, while you're starting playing, 30 something minutes to then, coming off the bench and, having a little spark here and there. Those are 2 entirely different roles, and, them being able to fill in both is definitely optimistic for us. And then just what they did defensively, I mean, just knowing the level of play that we have to be at when we do that, just because offensively, I mean, we were good, for a majority of the season. So knowing what they can do, both offensively and defensively, definitely, helped us after the deadline, and just knowing where we have to be at and try to sustain that, for an entire season. I mean, I think we're definitely in a good place with that group.
All right, Tony, back to you for your second question.
Thanks, Hassan. Sorry about that, De'Aaron. What I was wanting to ask you, De'Aaron, when you were sitting out and you were watching how the team progressed defensively those last 2 or 3 weeks, was there anything else that you thought, just by watching them, observing, that you can add to the mix, for the team could add overall? Because steals went up, rebounding went up. Like you said, reflections out the passing lane and things like that. Was there anything else that stood out to you that could help define you guys defensively going into next season?
For us, just being able to have consistent ball pressure, and then staying solid. I mean, that's really what we did. Starting to put more pressure on the ball, forces them to throw worse passes, not getting into the paint as often, as easy. Just that, really. I mean, that's where it starts. That's where your foundation of your defense starts, is the pressure that you put on the ball.
All right, we'll take our last 2 questions. Sean Cunningham.
De'Aaron, I was just curious, because of the way the commitment the team made to you the last offseason, has it empowered you at all to feel like you can speak up on matters of in the organization and in terms of just maybe changes and things of that nature, what you guys need. And I guess along those lines, which kind of your biggest concern as you head into the off season?
I don't know. Going into this offseason, it's really just, what we can do on the defensive end of the court. That's pretty much it. Like I said, if we were just, halfway decent with that, we would have been an entirely different team. So really that's really the only thing we really think for myself is really thinking about is, what we as a group can do defensively and how consistent can we be on that side of the court.
Jason Anderson, last one.
De'Aaron, this year has been crazy with all the protocols and restrictions you guys have been under. Were you surprised, to actually contract COVID-19? And do you have any idea how you ended up being exposed to it?
Yeah, actually, I have no idea. I really have no idea. Because after we played Minnesota, the second one, the one that we won, I had a headache that night. So I don't know when I actually got it. And then the next day I was fine. Tested because we were off that day. Tested that day. And then that night I started to get body aches and chills. And I was like, I think I might have it. So then Dr. Braley called me at 7 a.m. the next morning. I'm like, oh shit. I definitely have it. So then he told me that I tested positive. So I'm not sure. I don't know when I would have gotten it.